السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وارنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, we will start from this verse that we left off last week. So the verse who would like to read? Well, the first one, يوم
يوم يكشف عن ساق ويدعون إلى السجود فلا يستطيعون
فلا يستطيعون. Yeah. So the meaning, the translation. Anyone?
I'll do it. On the day when the truth shall be laid bare, they will be called upon to prostrate themselves, but they will not be able to do so.
Now, who are they? They. Who are they? They, and you might forgotten it, they, those people, still the verses referring to the first description of those people who opposed the truth, who opposed the prophets on two reasons. One is we are rich. The other one is we have a great number of children, means supporters, so that we can trust their support. So those people who trust on themselves or trust something else in this world, these are they. When the truth shall be laid bare, when they realize that their property, their support cannot help them anymore. But when do you think people realize this? Either they get into bankruptcy, they find themselves in an incurable disease, or when they realize that they are going to die. And anything sharply helps them to understand clearly that neither their property nor their support can avail them any help. So what is important? They will ask, they will remember that, or they will realize that they have to prostrate. What does it mean? They have to prostrate, admit that these things are not useful for them anymore. So at the end, when we die, we will realize that they are not really any good for us when we die. But we know that before we die, we know that death is inevitable. So think about it. Definitely, your life is passing. You cannot stop. You cannot stop aging. You cannot stop death. Ultimately, they know when they encounter with this reality, but if they don't repent, if they are given the opportunity, they won't be able to prostrate themselves. Why? Why do you think they won't be able to prostrate themselves?
It's too late.
For example, let's say too late means they wouldn't have time to prostrate. No. They won't be able to prostrate it. This is what I mean? Not because they are not going to given the opportunity to prostrate, but they won't be able to prostrate.
I mean, what I take from this section is that the level of conviction that they would have up until that point, even despite the truth being in front of them, they would not be convinced. So that, and prostration over here is kind of, the way I see it, is admitting to the truth. So even then, they're basically not going to do so because of the conviction they've believed in themselves.
So do you understand, do we understand that not only conviction, we don't have the conviction. If we do continuously for years and years and years and never return back at our will, not because of the external factors. For example, there are many examples in our life. If we get used to doing certain things, it will be very difficult to change. So, for example, if someone, let's say, eats certain kind of food, do you think 10 years, 20, 30 years later to change, it is easy to change their habit? No. Even somebody comes from a certain background, of course everybody comes from a certain background, and when they are offered, for example, let's say you have never tasted Chinese food, it's very, I don't know whether Chinese food or I don't know, you know, maybe Arab cuisine, doesn't matter. If you are not used to it, the people may offer you the best of their food. If you are not used to it, what do you find? Strange. You may not be able to eat it because you are used to it. So if someone improves his physical or emotional ability in a certain way, what happens? Somehow related to what you said as well, if I'm used to understanding the world in a certain way, if I am used to, what happens? It is not easy to change my mindset. Because, why? I have been asking my Creator to develop my abilities in that certain channel of thinking, channel of right living, understanding the world. So suddenly, even if I realize that it may be right, it may be wrong, let me think about it, but my tongue gets used to using the language, my mind gets used to thinking on a certain way. But somebody, do you understand this somehow? It means whatever we, if you like, act in a certain way, every action is a kind of making the things strengthening the way that you have been doing. Strengthens it, makes it stronger in you. You have been thinking in this way. It means that is your action-wise prayer. God set us free. If you ask me to, for example, to make you like this kind of food, I will develop your taste on this line. So Chinese people love their own cuisine. Arabs love their own cuisine. And I don't know, some certain people from other parts of the world like their own kind of food. Why? Why? Because they prayed in an action way, with their actions to develop their taste in that particular direction. God made them, gave them the result. If someone thinks in a particular way, so he develops his ability to continue processing the thoughts in that particular way. How the development takes place. If you study, I don't know, if you are specialized in a particular subject, whatever the subject you specialize, so you as soon as you encounter with the subject, you know what is the solution. Because those people who study, let's say, computer programming, so as soon as something happens in the program, it may be wrong this way and that way. But if you have not worked on it, like me, if something happens, you are puzzled. You don't know what to do. It may be very easy because I'm not used to thinking along this line. Why I am not used to? Because human beings are created in this way. Whatever you pray for, it develops. If you really do weightlifting, what happens? Your your muscles develop on this way. And they don't get back in one day. It takes a long time to reverse the process. Right or wrong. But you may have some questions in your mind saying that, in the tradition what we hear, Sahaba, companions of the Prophet, they embraced Islam and suddenly became a pure man, pure people, saved. Case, for my understanding, never. Why? Why? Only those people who were not happy with the tradition of Meccan tribe, Christ tribe, were ready to accept anything which makes sense to them. They were praying, they were preparing their way of thought in a certain way, right? Abu Bakr, Khadija, Ali, they never worship any tribal distinction, any tribal conflict. They never really accepted that. They were really searching for the truth. Muhammad, peace be upon him, was also never, ever satisfied. Was satisfied with the establishment status quo of the culture. So what happened? During the first years, only those people who were looking for the children, right? There were some others also. They were questioning legitimacy of their culture. As soon as they heard that Muhammad is saying that there was somebody, Muhammad was really secretly saying it, but people used to hear the rumor. But there is somebody who's called Muhammad. He looks like he was a nice guy. Why? But now started claiming something that we should stop praying our ancestral gods or tribal conflict, really. That's their ancestral belief system was tribal conflict. So my tribe is better than yours. That was everything. All the idols in Kaaba was representative of tribes, tribal distinctions. They used to pay allegiance to their tribal symbols. So they are named as idols. So Muhammad والسلام, was never happy with any of them. No one did that. But he was before the prophethood. The messengership was given to him or employed as a teacher, as a new teacher. He was worshiping the God of Kaaba. It means God that introduced to mankind by Abraham and didn't know anything else. And he was so puzzled with the situation that the people kept fighting each other because of the tribal pride. And then what happened? This certain of people embraced Islam at the beginning, 10, 20 people, 10, 15, 20 people. They were already doubtful about the status quo of this Quraysh culture. And then very slowly, one by one, people became interested in the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. Why? People were thinking, quarreling, having dispute, like the quarrel and the disputes going on before the elections. That everyone says, no, this is right, no, this is right, no, this said this did this, the names. So they what they do, they try, which is right, which is wrong, which is right, which is wrong, which is right, which is wrong, yeah? Do you understand this process? They were hesitant, they were investigating. It took them 20 years to come to the conclusion. That's why after 20 years, or the 21st year of the message, the prophetic message, when the prophet came to Mecca, they said, I think this guy is not after worldly throne. This person, they heard that he was the leader of many tribes, but he did have no property, living in one room as his home. Not 2 bedrooms, no. Bedroom, living room, kitchen, bathroom, everything is one room. They understood for sure that this man is not after power. This man is just really trying to teach us not to fight, not to kill each other, because you belong to that tribe, because you belong to another tribe. What's wrong with you? Why don't you be human beings? Then after 20 years of pondering, considerations, they said, I think this person is an honest man. That is the last, if you like, push. Last push. They decided to embrace the message of the Prophet. And what did Prophet do? Nothing. Nothing. Did he gain any benefit? People were surprised. In Mecca, when he came to Mecca, the people were surprised. They said, now it was the fashion. It was the tradition of the society. It's very important that if a man conquers a land, he takes the property completely under his control and makes the people slave for the conquerors. That was the fashion of the tribal life. And they thought it was going to happen the same thing. And when the Prophet said, first of all, he entered the Mecca. It is very important, this gesture, with his head down on the camel, not proud. Do you understand? That was very important. Why? Everybody, the conqueror, gets into the land. How? The sword in his hand, up there, on a white horse, with an awesome appearance. I am the conqueror. Muhammad was doing the opposite. And the people were surprised. They were expecting either to be executed or enslaved. And they said, what are we going to do now? Are we going to give all our properties back to you? What? He said, go to your life, continue. Continue. Nothing is going to be taken taken from you. And none of you will be treated as slave or anything. You are as you are. Come on. Continue your life. If you want to go to, they were mostly cattle breeding people, so go to take care of your herd in Mecca. Yeah, in Medina, the people were farmers. So in Mecca, so go. What does it mean? He is not after force. He is not after conquering, imposing his own power on people. They understood that was the last push. So what I am telling all these stories, the background of the people for 20 years were shaky. They were not really insisting on their previous belief system, but questioning. We should understand this. If someone never questions, I am right, suddenly he feels that he's not feeling well, goes to the doctor, and the doctor says you are diagnosed with a detrimental disease, a fatal disease. You are going to die soon. Can he change suddenly? Not yet. Then he starts criticizing the decision of the Creator, saying that which kind of God they talk about, and gives me this disease that there is no cure for it. Gets angry with God because he has been praying on a certain line. What are we going to learn from it? Very simple. As soon as you have some sort of considerations, the way you think, the way you live, then really sincerely think about it and try to find out the truth, investigate it, and before it is too late. It means not because it is too late that you are going to die. Before it is too late to change your habitual life, you have to slowly go into another path that you think that's right. As soon as you see the light, the truth, now the way I live may not be a legitimate life. I am not really appreciating what I am given. Only I build up my own caprices, egoistic caprices, and I impose my caprices on God, saying that you have to give me this, otherwise I'm not going to be happy with you. This attitude. Look what He has given to you already. Is it really whatever you expect from life, future life? Do you really deserve it? What do we deserve? What do we deserve? Even one finger in your hand, I don't deserve. Do you deserve one finger? What have you done for the finger that you moves this way and this way? You go, you work with it. What do we deserve? Do you deserve your tongue? Walking, tasting, talking. I don't know how it's. I have no idea. Do you deserve your kidneys working, cleaning your whatever, your the thing you eat? Huh? Do you deserve it? No, nothing. We found them easy, free. And we don't see any of them. Do you deserve the atmosphere? Anything. We say, I want the best job in New York, and God doesn't give it to me. Come on, man. Do you think that you deserve it for this? Without thanking for what you have been given so far is priceless, unimaginable. So start thinking in the positive way and decide the way you are going to take the life is serious. Every day passes enforces your wrong habit. And at the end come so stubborn that you. So when you are young, you say, this is a life is like this, hip hop life, but you are developing your abilities in a certain way. Watch out. Try to question yourself. Now, this verse is so clear. On the day or whenever, not only just one day before or the moment they die, it is too late. Why do you give advice to a person who is about to die in an hour? It's too late. So whenever the truth shall be laid bare, it means the truth starts showing itself. I think this way is another alternative for me. This looks more consistent, more true. So you should take it serious and think about it. They will be called upon to prostrate themselves if you don't take lesson from the guidance you hear. It comes to you. So they will be called, these people will be called prostrate himself. It means, come on, submit to the truth, but he has no ability to do that, because as if, the atrophy, atrophy, if you don't use, but that's my typical example, let's say, I'm going to get old and I need sharp eye, young eye, when I get old, So let me not use this one. So save it for the 20 years in the future. Use one of them. What happens? The one eye you use improves. The other eyes you don't use dies. Not 20 years. A few months is enough. It loses its function. Why? We are created in such a way that if the gift of God is not used, God takes it away. That is the principle in the order of the universe. If you don't use one of your leg, for example, God forbid something happened and they put in a clutch or whatever they call it, plaster, you don't use 1 week for 1 month, one leg for 1 month. Now what happens? You need 3 months in the rehabilitation center to go back, but never exactly the same. You always live like this still, just because you didn't use the leg for 1 month. Isn't that true? Yeah, I've seen many people like that. Why? God says if you don't use, but this person may have an accident, that's why. But this is the law. This is the principle of the order of the universe. God says, how I treat you. So what is important? Leg is not very important. We are going to die anyways. But the way you think, the way you develop your habits, the way you live is very important. You cannot change it. After a certain time, it will become harder and harder to change, and at the end, it becomes impossible. Now, they will not be able to prostrate themselves at the end. Yeah.
So the line where you said that at the end it will become impossible.
Sorry?
When you said that at the end it will become impossible.
Almost impossible, yeah.
Almost, right?
If they don't know, yeah, it's almost impossible. Not very important, but impossible. You know why? We are misled. You know, when the people misled with the misunderstanding. What we hear in the culture, the companions came and took Shahada before the Prophet, they became 100% pure. It doesn't happen. I never seen this story in the life of the Prophet and in the life of the companions of the Prophet. As I told you, it's very important. Only those people who were questioning the legitimacy of the existing culture in Quraysh easily accepted the message of Muhammad because it made sense for them. Easily accepted. Those people never gave any chance to the possibility of leaving the ancestral culture, tradition of the tribe behind and changing it. They were the, how do you say, fiercest, the most arrogant enemy of the Prophet. Why? They were praying on this line, the other people were praying on the opposite line. Physical action-wise praying, I mean, doesn't say God. They don't acknowledge really God. It means doing actions so that their abilities develop this way or this way. Only after 15, 20 years of quarrel or doubtfulness or arguments or hesitations, this way, this way, this way, this way. Do you see what I mean? And then in bulk, they said, I think this guy is right. Yeah. When we read this, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. So when the Fatih, the real truth opened up, in front of their eyes, you see that the groups of people, folks, group, or the tribe by tribe embraced Islam because they were dubious. They were questioning. That is the missing point. When we say that a person comes to the Prophet, say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, let us take Shahada, that's it. He became suddenly, the worst man becomes the best man. Nah, there is no such rule in the world. You have never studied medicine. Can you become a doctor in 1 week? That's the law of the order of the creation. So we shouldn't really wait a miraculous event will take place with me. We are free to choose our free will. We have to use our opportunities given to us. This verse is very powerful. Do you understand? Clear. They won't be able to do it. That is another verse says, you heard that in the Quran says, God stamps off the hearts, the eyes, on the ears of the people who are deniers. Why? If you never use your eye, your ear, your mind, your heart, your feelings in order to search for the truth, what happens? Atrophy dies away. That's the law of the creation. And people, in a very simplistic way, it shows the ignorance of the person. Say, if God sealed off my heart, what shall I do? That's the law, man. In the universe, applicable to everybody. Right? If you don't water the tree, it dies. This is inevitable. Yeah? At the end, it is stamped off from life. That's so simple. If you don't use one of your members of your body, it dies. If you don't use your mind thinking in this way, this ability of thinking in this way dies. So simple. And God is telling you, look, don't let yourself or dead as far as searching for the truth is concerned. It's so simple. It is a very universal law of the order of the universe. It means God is telling us that this is the way I treat you. Mind your business now. Take care of your options and take your life seriously. Right? Okay. The following verse, do we understand now? It means it is a wake-up call. Don't wait until you die. In this world after you die. It is not applicable to the moment of death at all. So usually the culture takes it in a way that when the last moment comes in the culture, Muslim culture, and not Islamic, Muslim population, that when the death moment comes, your tawbah, it means your repentance, your decision to give up this wrong way or understanding or belief will not be accepted. So don't leave it until you die. And I'm a young man, it's not very like that. No, you don't know when the death will come to you. It is not very convincing. That you see that, and 16 years old boy or girl never thinks of that. Death. Usually, they don't really take it seriously because there are, let's say, in a school, high school, there are 2,000 students, and maybe in 2, 3, 4 years, one of their friends died. 2,000 of them enjoy the life. They don't take lesson from it. So how can you apply this to the young person saying that you never know when you are going to die? So make repentance from now on. It doesn't work. the law, the principle in the order of the universe works in this way. That is the message we learn from the Quran. That is the sealing of the hearts, sealing of the eyes and ears. We cannot see the truth anymore. That these are all reminders to tell us that the law of the creation, that's how I treat everybody equally within this order. I give you the opportunity. I don't expect you to understand the truth in one day, but at least look for it. Question your status quo. Question your habitual life. Am I doing right? Yeah, everybody says this way. Yeah, everybody says in this way or another way, but you have a free will, independent free will. Why don't you question what you have decided? Whether it's right or wrong. Why don't you question? Because you have the ability to do that. I don't know if someone says, I cannot think myself, I'm somehow retarded, that is excused anyway. So we have to stop our life that we are accustomed with, question it. The verse is beautiful. Do you see? This verse is beautiful reminder. So don't take it for death that the problem is solved. But if you really think of the meaning of the verse, as you hear it in the culture, the last minute, I shouldn't leave it to last minute, but you have been doing every moment the prayer on the same, training on the same line. You are strengthening your ability to be in the wrong path. But inevitable result is you cannot turn back. You kill yourself. It means you kill your ability to search for the truth. Got it? So we have to at least start questioning, if possible, when we are really seeing the truth, decide and turn our direction. Otherwise, we cannot change it.
So it's like digging a hole or digging a path,
yeah.
And then at some point you're just so deep into it you cannot even see how to get out of it.
Get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's making prayer. It means they're asking God to develop my ability in this direction.
Yeah.
But God says, okay. Yeah. Talu.
Is this kind of aligned to the first two verses of Surah Al-Asr?
Sorry?
Is this aligned? Is what we're saying aligned with the first two verses of Surah Al-Asr, where it says, by the time verily mankind is in a state of loss?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it kind of
okay. Yeah. You can align it with those things, but this verse makes it so clear and practical. But that verse, yeah, on the same line, but it is a warner, look, time is passing, what are you doing? Yeah? It is a very general reminder. This is a particular reminder that you are developing your ability in a certain way, you cannot turn it back. That is the law in action in the universe. That is what I'm telling you, how I create. Everybody is free to act as they want. So the second verse, the following verse, okay? Who would like to read? Anybody would like to read the verse? Yep.
خاشعة أبصارهم تذهبهم ذلة وقد كانوا يدعون إلى سجود وهم سالمون.
Yeah, look how the Quran says, I am a clear proof, clear explanation. My explanation is very clear. Yes, it is very clear, very simple. But simple means not complicated. that we cannot understand really what this verse is talking about. No, very straightforward. Everybody can understand if only you get out of your traditional understanding of religion. Leave it aside. Start thinking freely without the influence of the traditional understanding. It means traditional understanding means really ethnic culture. It means very providential understanding. It means in your town, how you are presented in life with no real study, investigation. No real investigation based on real knowledge, questioning. Then to understand the religion, it becomes very easy. Very easy. But when you are immersed with, my father told me, my mother told me, then you cannot get out of it. I'm sorry. But what they say, some religious people, you cannot get out of it. You cannot find the truth. You are bound to deny it. Why? It doesn't make sense. Culture, ethnic, cultural religion doesn't make sense. That was the main enemy, if you like, main target that the Prophet struggled for 23 years to eradicate the tradition of the following of ancestors. Right? Which is called very famous, Jahiliyyah. Asabiyya Jahiliyyah. It means without taking notice of the teachings of the revelation itself, following blindly your ethnic culture. But this ethnic culture may be called Muslim, may be called Christian, doesn't matter. Ethnic culture is ethnic culture. Free yourself from the influence of ethnic culture. Read this verse. It's very easy to understand. But if you leave it to the death moment, it doesn't make sense because it doesn't help you. Okay.
But I have a question. It's not irreversible. It's not like...
Which is not irreversible.
Of course. If they're following their culture and they're like, it's like hard line into them, they're strongly following it. It doesn't mean that it's not irreversible, that if they try, if they try, that it can. Yeah,
that's what you were not here, I think. We gave the example of the companions of the Prophet. They try to balance or to compare, which is right, for 20 years. Through this questioning, that's why we at least have to honestly question, what am I doing? What they say, is it really true? Question, open mind. But if you never keep following the same way of life, my typical example, my mother cooks the rice in the best way. Every tribe says, my mother cooks the rice in the best way. That's an example, just an example. Everybody says, mine is the best. Mine is the best. Mine is the best. Stop stupidity and say, let me investigate which is better. So simple. My culture is the best. My religion is the best. Go to a very conservative Jewish community. I'm not belittling them. It is valid for Muslim community as well, equally valid. If you speak to them, their religion is the best. Buddhists, their religion is the best. Christians, their religion is the best. Muslims, of course, our religion is the best. Claim-wise, it's the same.
Another example, like, could be like the way they decide to raise their children. It's probably the best way always.
For them.
Yes.
But is it? You have to, we and I, the Quran says, start questioning. Doesn't it say this? Before you become, how do you say, solidified on the way? Yeah? Start questioning. And, you know, if your arm, let's say, is in a plaster, you didn't use it for 1 month for any reason.
Yeah.
Now, the first day you want to move, doesn't move after the plaster is taken off. You can't use, if you say, no, I can't use my arm. Can you use your arm again if you don't try really this rehabilitation?
No.
Rehab? No. But you were doing something like this, exercises. So you have to do this way, 1 inch. The second day, 1.5 inches. The third day, 2 inches.
More like weeks.
Yeah. I mean, okay. 1 week, 2 weeks. So at the end of the 3rd month, etc., you start moving. If you never try, it never gets back. It means the reverse process never takes place. Right? But we have to try. In order to be able to try, that's what I'm really bursting myself to share this idea with you. In order to go back and question, you have to have an open mind. Questioning mind. Stop imitating. Stop repeating the meaningless cultural information without thinking. I was a bit sensitive today because I spoke somebody, actually he embraced Islam later in his life. It's a very quite recently. So he was using the language as if he has been grown up in Bangladesh. What are you doing? He's not from Bangladesh at all. He's from a completely different cultural background. Because the people around him indoctrinated his mind with the phrases the Bengali people, Bangladeshi people use.
Oh, okay.
I said, what does it mean? But the whole, during the whole meeting, what does it mean you are using this? But a very religious language, an incredibly religious language. That doesn't make sense. So I said, well, you know, the only barrier in front of us, blindly following the culture, any kind of blindly. Questioning, being really convinced with an open mind develops you, helps you. So forget about that. Of course, I came from a Muslim background. Alhamdulillah. It means you are already killing your abilities. And you cannot change. When you are introduced the truth, you cannot submit to it. You cannot prostrate. Means you cannot submit the truth anymore. Before it is too late. Watch out, question. It doesn't mean that everything in tradition is wrong. No, I'm saying blindly following, imitating. Question.
So the thing that you said about the truth,
yeah.
That this is something that you observe, and is it perhaps here that when someone is presented with something, they have no comprehension about this?
Someone is presented.
Someone is presented with the truth in front of them, and their whole past, I don't know how many years, they've never been able to comprehend it. They didn't really see it.
Let's say this somebody is you.
Sure.
And you have been following certain way of thinking until now. Somebody came and told you something shocking. Looks like truth, but you never found in your religion, in your cultural religion, this kind of understanding. What are you going to do? You cannot really, okay, I submit, I prostrate before the truth. No. Open-mindedness. Don't say, this sentence goes against my culture, reject it. No. Think about it. Can it be true? Be open. Be open. That's the problem. We condition ourselves saying that I'm true. I'm right. I'm on the right way. The Jewish people memorize parts of Torah. It's too long to memorize. And Muslim people memorize Qur'an, they never question. They never think about it. They keep repeating, narrating. They don't reflect on it, try what the truth, this text really conveying to me. Do you get it? So open-mindedness, if you, after reconsidering whether it is true or not, if you find it really makes sense and consistent rationally for you, then you say, really, what I hear in the tradition really makes sense, without imitating it, after questioning it. I think you wanted to say something before.
I have a question about what you were saying with Muslim people, like
Muslim or any other culture.
Okay, so I grew up in Nigeria, and in Nigeria, for a lot of Muslim kids, we learn, you go to Arabic school and they teach you.
So you go to?
I grew up in Nigeria.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like our official language is English, and most people don't speak Arabic.
Okay.
But when you're growing up, you go to Arabic school and you're taught about the Quran, but you're taught how to read the Quran in Arabic. And so I know a lot of us like grew up reading the Quran, knowing how to recite the Quran, but not ever actually understanding what's in the Quran. And for the longest time, I thought that was normal, that was fine. And it took a really long time to get to that place where it's like, wait, why do I know how to read the surah, but I don't actually understand what it means?
Yeah, come to our class.
Well, but like speaking from that perspective, is the problem is I know a lot of people who are from different parts of the world who have the same experience, right?
Yeah.
They know how to recite the surahs in the Quran, but have no idea what it means.
No. I think you are, I don't know whether I've seen you in this class before. Maybe I've seen you. You are not really the first face I'm seeing. You may be coming not very frequently. Am I right? Yeah. We don't speak on behalf of others. You see what I mean? We don't know other people under which conditions they are. But we see the general culture, general current of the culture. We don't speak about people. What we do, for example, yourself and myself. Yeah? So I have grown up in this particular type of culture. And do you realize, not now, before as well, you are an open-minded person. Do you realize that you need to understand the message, what you memorized in the chapter, surah of that? Do you feel the need for it? Yes, because for the recording, nodding the head is not enough. Recording doesn't record that. Right? Yes, do it. But you realize it, do it. But other people may not be able to realize it. Their conditions may be different. None of our business. We don't speak on behalf of other people. That's why this brother said something, and there are some, I said, it is you. Speak on your behalf. Yeah? So take notice of your own conditions. If someone comes to you, speak to him according to his conditions. Right? Don't transfer your own condition to him if he doesn't share the same cultural background, same understanding. So treat people according to their conditions. Treat yourself according to your own conditions. I have to do the same thing. So I cannot really understand this verse is referring to the moment of death. Meaningless, if it was. But it reminds me the general principle of the order of creation. Got it? So Qur'an always gives universal, practical advice. Otherwise, if it is not universal, if it is not practical, why bother to tell me? It's not practical. Got it? So if it is not universal, how can I find my place in it? If it is speaking to Quraysh, the certain tribe that the Prophet, peace be upon him, was living with, it is not related to me. What shall I do? Right? It's not my case. Do you get it? So it is not. It would not be a universal speech, but Quran says itself, "I am a universal speech." Say, are you really? Let me see. You see the universality of the message is here. The only thing is needed, free yourself from cultural indoctrinations. But only those people who can do it. It is you. You can do it. And this guy said something, he can do it as well. So if I am speaking, I can do it as well because I'm aware of it. But let's say somebody lived in a small tribal village for 60 years, he has no experience of even in another village, experience of another village. How can you expect him to have a free thinking? He has, or he or she has his or her own life conditions, responsibility for his life. Don't make a comparison between you and this person. Two extreme examples. Think about the case for yourself. Another one, the pursuing the same question or another? Okay, all right. But yeah, carry on since.
So we're talking about being able to think for yourself, right?
Yeah. Evaluate the case within your own conditions. Okay.
But isn't there also the part where it's like you're not supposed to pick and choose which parts of the religion work for you and do not work for you? Do you see what I mean?
No, not because you were fast. I couldn't hear you. Oh, okay. Did you hear?
Yeah.
Understood everything? Yes. Sure. Can I hear from this guy?
Let me know if I'm getting this right. Her question is, isn't there a part, and I don't know which area you're referring to, but isn't there a part which talks about that you're not supposed to pick and choose from religion what works for you, what does not? So don't treat religion as a buffet. Don't pick items like.
No, that's correct. But right. For yourself, you have to see everything. You have to study. I'm not I don't understand if I presented the case in this way. It was wrong. If I did, it would be wrong. So it's not takes some part of religion stuff, but religion is not your tribal culture. Religion is what the universal speech says. Right? But not because your tribal culture, it means your really ancestral culture says this or this or this. Got it? So I like this, I don't like this. No. Just look at the teachings of the Quran and get the universal principles out of it. Of course, as much as you can. You and I can. So develop, continue. Be serious about the teachings of the Quran. And take it seriously. If you register with a faculty or a university, if you go one day, another day don't go, what happens at the end? Let me throw something to somebody. And then you start saying that the education is not important because you are failing. Yeah, so be consistent. Somebody understood what I meant. Be consistent. So if you register with the faculty, if you understand that the Quran is a serious source of knowledge that God sends to me, I have to take it seriously. Because we come to this life only once. Not before, yeah, we have to really appreciate life. You wanted to?
Yeah. And you said that when you don't use your heart, you will stop. You cannot use your heart because you haven't used it. You haven't used your mind. You haven't used your eyes and your ears to really question.
It means heart, not physical heart.
Huh? I know.
Yeah,
spiritual heart, right? I can't help but think of Surah Al-Baqarah when it says...
Who? Surah Al-Baqarah, yeah.
The heart is sealed.
Yes.
It's the curse of Allah. Is it just a curse of Allah for certain...
Curse of?
Khatam Qulubi.
It is the seal.
Right, sealed. So is it sealed before they even had a chance to question?
Come on, you have been here. We have been talking about this. If you don't use our arm for 2 months, it dies.
But my question is, did they even have a chance to question, or was it sealed?
Of course, this is the universal law.
Right.
If you don't, God is reminding you the universal law, not mentioning about one case.
Okay.
So this is the way that you will find in my treatment in the order of the universe. If you don't use your abilities, at the end you will find them dead. So it is not one event. Before you were born, it is irrelevant. That's what you hear from masjid culture.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with it.
Right.
It is a universal law of the creation that God is reminding us. Please pay attention to this principle that I create. Within this principle I create. If you don't use it, it will die and you won't get back. So this verse also is an explanation of that verse. But it is nothing to do with once event.
Right.
No, not at all. So God says, I sealed your heart. That's it, go to hell. Why? Why did you create me then? If you have already decided.
Right.
Why did you give me the opportunity for 60 years, 70 years of life that I will develop? So do you question God? Because you question God with the ability who gave you this ability. Yeah? It is not strange for you. Because this ability is given to you in order to question this understanding, whether right or wrong. That's right?
Yeah.
So never understand once event on the once. No, it is a reminder. But just a few minutes ago, I said, Quran states universal principles. So even in the descriptions of the hell, description of paradise is a reminder for us to reevaluate our life here, not there. When I go there, I will see it anyways. Why do you tell me? Okay, your question.
So you said at a certain point, there is spirituality and you don't question. Get to a point where it's impossible that it stops becoming something active for you. is there a point where someone can just switch?
In one day?
Not in one day, but let's say somebody
Yeah,
spends here
of course
40
you can.
years.
That's what the reminder is there. Don't you know that if I study, let's say, medicine, but is it impossible for me to study, let's say, accountants, just something irrelevant? No, you can start the course from the first year in college. 4 years later, you will find out that I can make a good accountant. But 4 years later. But it is not impossible, but it shows the universal, demonstrates the universal trend in the creation. The order is set in this way. If you take this direction, yeah, if you keep going to north, example, but in fact, you want to go to south, but going to north, what do you say? Shall I go to south? And continue. What happens? You further away yourself from south. Well, we're starting from the point you started the journey. But if you say, come on, hesitate, stop, I want to go to south, and this direction is not the south. Come on, I should stop. I should turn back. So when you turn back, do you find yourself immediately in south? No, you have to walk back. And then when you come to the point you started, and then continue to the south, then you start making pace in the process or development of going to the south. That is how the rule is. Somebody goes on this way for 40 years, and one night it shifts. And that's it. No, but the stories we hear, they say, there was a man among the companions of the Prophet. He was against the Prophet, or on the other side. So one day, after certain years, but mostly 20 years, mostly you have to look up the figures narrated in the history. Excuse me. And then he decided to take Shahada. It means really, okay, Muhammad, I think you are right. I decided. And then suddenly something happens and he dies. Oh, in one day, he deserved paradise. No. Because when he decides that the message of the Prophet Muhammad is right, it has at least 20 years background of hesitation, investigation, debates, arguments. This is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. Now, let's say this is truth, represents the truth, right? Like this. For this guy, example, and wrong, not the truth, but mistake is up there, truth is down there for him. So what happens? Is it right? Oh, this is right. This seems to be. And really, what this man says is really true. So I should come down. Now, why should I really oppress any other person? Because he was born into another tribe. It is not choice. It's not his mistake. Why should I really claim that I am better than him? So look, yeah, now here, he says, I think this message is really correct. But like this, and suddenly I go to paradise because God decided in this way. Are you playing and how to say gambling or what? This word is in a clear evidence. Look at the order. So very clear to me. It's very simple. The message is very simple. So the translation, who would like to read the translation 43? The verse 43, yes, please.
Their eyes will be cast down, ignominy will cover them. They used to be called to prostrate themselves while they were healthy and good.
What does it mean? You have the opportunity, you say, after I retired, I will think about it. After I retire, or now, I am busy with my work or study or something, so I will start thinking when I get my degree. And who is going to sit and study the Quran now? It doesn't bring you any money, any status in the society, yeah? Because you believe in God, that is between you and God. But of course, if you study religion in order to make a profession out of it, become a sheikh, or that is your intention, I don't know. You can learn a lot, but never enters here. Because it's the profession. You are going to make your living on it. Become an imam or shifar, something. Do you understand? It doesn't go here. Impossible. But it must be your personal concern, for your personal interest, between you and your Creator. How can I become aware of my Creator in the best way? That's the question. Me. No one knows. That's why religion seems to make you gain any status in the society. So it doesn't have any encouragement, motivation, as far as your status in the community is concerned. If you investigate religion in order to become a prominent person in your community, Quran says that is hypocrisy, worse than denial. So it must be your matter, your problem, personal problem, my personal problem. How am I going to develop my human abilities in order to know who I am, why I am here on earth? What's the purpose in my creation, existence? Why am I given all these human qualities? What am I doing with them? To become an accountant, right? To count other people's income and expenditures. Maybe you may be a rich man and you can just run your own business. So what? What are you going to do with it? All the properties you accumulated. The Quran keeps reminding those people who are boasting their properties, their power, their social status, will get nothing, because when they think of the end of their life, none of these things will help their soul, neither their body. Their body will deteriorate completely. We have to decide. We have to decide what we are going to do only for the sake of saving myself. Nothing to gain anything. That is why we found it difficult to concentrate on. If someone says, look, in America, they are really dearly in need of, let's say, doctors, physicians. If you go there and study medicine, your life is guaranteed. All the people from India, China, Pakistan will migrate into America is studying engineering, doctor. Yeah. Because they see that 6 years later, I will get enormous income. But they don't see that their humanity gains nothing. Because when you acknowledge your Creator, you really assign or connect yourself to the eternal Creator, absolute Creator. Not only your job is secured, your existence is secured for eternity. Because you realize that your Creator is the absolute one and you belong to Him. You have to confirm this, not only information. You have to get training, train your feelings so that they will be fully satisfied. Yes? So, to study the Quran, even once a week, not one day, 2 hours a week becomes a burden. But to study medicine, if you are sure that you are going to get a good job, not only one hour a day, 6 days, 7 days of the week, 10 hours, the medical students study. I mean, no one said that we shouldn't study medicine. No, but comparison. Why do we devote our life to a profession which takes 10 hours a day, 7 days a week of my life, just because I'm going to get a good job? How about securing your existence by recognizing why you are here in this world? For God's sake, 2 hours a week, too much. Isn't it true? Too much. Serious thinking 2 hours a week is too much. Do that and spare 2 hours a week for this purpose as well. Seriously, sit in the house, read or concentrate on certain things, try to understand for 2 hours a week. It is very difficult to do. Yeah, I think somebody wants to ask a question. Did you want to ask a question? You were raising your hand? It wasn't you, maybe you. Yeah. Okay, I didn't notice really exactly, but there was an hand up there. Okay.
So you're going on the same thing. You're trying to take on a very granular basis, on a very second basis. Technically, every second should be connecting you to the Creator, right? Every moment that you're alive should have a connection to the Creator.
Yeah.
Generally, people pray, or like let's say in Islam, the thing is to pray 5 times a day, right?
Whatever. That is something else. Praying is something else, yeah.
I mean, then, I don't know, help explain what sort of this connection looks like in every moment.
This connection with the Creator, you mean?
Yeah.
Looks like?
In every moment.
In every moment, you have to train yourself so that you will get...
Explain what is that training like?
So, what we are doing here, what I feel when I am here, for example, not this is the only way. No. One example. When I concentrate on the verse, the meaning of the verses, on a very convincing path, right? I feel more and more convinced that I have to take the Quran seriously. Yeah, with an open mind, more and more. But every second is the ideal case, the 100% perfect belief. But there's no ideal case. what we always say that, look, what we talk about here in this class, direction, which direction we will take. The end of the direction, unreachable. But we will go this way, not that way. So step by step, go to the right direction. For example, seriously considering the guidance of the Quran, half an hour a week. Seriously. Don't repeat your culture. Just think about it seriously, half an hour. Let's give 3-4 months later, 1 hour a day. 1 hour in a week. And 1 year later, 2 hours a week. Gradually, but take it seriously. When you start tasting the pleasure, the security, the really calmness, serenity in your heart, it goes up fast. But you have to taste it a little bit. It needs consistency, seriousness, and self-responsibility. This is my purpose of existence. Not, don't try to correct the community. Correct yourself. You will do the best. So concentrate on your own responsibility. So simple. But it takes time, of course. No one can become a musician in one day. Isn't that the law? Not of the tree, not one tree. You know, some, of course, exceptional case in the desert life. You know, when it rains, the second day, plants are out in very quick. I think those people who have experienced that, they know this. But otherwise, in our climate, do you see one, let's say, pomegranate tree grew in one day? Grew in 1 month?
No.
You know, I never experienced that. Do you think a baby become a grown-up adult in 2 weeks, 1 week? No. That is why we will study that as well. God says we give the opportunity to the people so that they gradually develop in the good way or in the bad way. One person cannot become a bad person, whatever it is. Example, in one day. One person cannot become a good believer in one day. It's impossible. It needs consistency and continuously taking it seriously, then you start making progress. As you start making progress, you get pleasure more. That's how we are instinctively encoded, how we work. Everything gradual in this world, you see? The day also passes gradually. Suddenly it doesn't become night. Gradually. The change of the day as you go to the north, gradually. Yeah. In winter, for example, now equator is different. Here where we are, now between the equator and the North Pole is different. When you could really go to the North Pole, now if it is winter, no sun. At the end, at the very end. If it is summer, no night. At the end. But you see the change gradually. Seasons change gradually. The human beings grow gradually. Knowledge develops gradually. Abilities develop gradually. That's why this is called in the Quran, if you really study that, istidraj. Right? It means gradual development in both cases, in good and the bad. Okay, I think their eyes will be cast down, ignominy will cover them, and they used to be called to prostrate themselves while they were healthy and good. So take the opportunity as soon as possible. Don't keep delaying that. I'm going to really study the Quran. After I graduate, yeah, you won't. Try me. Trust me, you won't. As soon as you graduate, what makes you panic about? Yeah, applications, preparing for CVs and resumes. You're writing your how is the purpose of the job or getting this kind of thing, and it takes months and months. And then you promised that after graduation you will start the Quran, studying the Quran, and then of course new job. You cannot get the new job as an beginners. It's called entry level in the place where you are. You are offered the job in Texas. Oh, I have to go there and start continuing searching for a new job in New York because you are from New York. You want to come back. You are accustomed with the life here. So it never ends. And then you get a proper job after 5 years. And then your mother, father, when are you going to get married? There is this girl here, there is this boy here. So prepare for marriage. And then, there is a child. I'm busy. The baby needs to take care. Come on, I have no time. These are all artificial. And then after I retire, after I retire, definitely I will study the Quran. The age is 65, and the mind has not been trained in this way. You read something in the morning, in the evening you forget about it. Look at what was it? How do I know? Here I am. Here I am experiencing that. So it says while they were healthy and good, they were called to prostrate. It means submit themselves to the truth. What they did didn't take notes. After the retirement, 65 years of age, it means you prayed in a certain way. Yeah? Not totally impossible, but difficult. God says, before it's too late, just decide and start doing it, inshallah. So thank you very much. The time is up already. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.